Hey guys, it's Joel and welcome back to another video. It is freezing, it's so cold. I think it's about 0 degrees here, so literally freezing. And I know that other parts of the UK have got snow. Today is Saturday, and I believe there's a lot of snow falling over the UK today and tomorrow. So if you're anywhere which is affected by the snow and you've got some, let me know. I love the snow and I'm very jealous if you have got any. Anyway, today I wanted to film, sorry, I'm going to put my glasses on. It's cold but sunny, so that's nice. I wanted to film a podcast. I've had this idea for a while. It's not original, I know that. But I just love driving, so it's an excuse to go out and drive my car for no reason other than to talk to you guys. And they're two things which I enjoy doing. I also thought doing this podcast is a good way of directly engaging with you guys frequently. I don't know how regularly I'm going to do this podcast. This might be the only one I ever do. I might do one every week. You guys might hate it and say, just do one every 3 months, mate, that's enough. Or you might not care at all. Nonetheless, I think it would be good to have a half an hour chat regularly. We'll see how regularly. But yeah, so this is going to be episode 1 of my podcast. Okay guys, so I want to kick off today with a massive thank you. It's a bit late now. I've been trying to film this. I've actually already filmed this podcast once, but that didn't work out for an unknown reason. No, the audio is awful. Anyway, I wanted to thank you guys for helping me to hit my target of 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and we did it. I think it's way over 1,000 now actually. We hit 1,000 subscribers maybe 2 weeks ago, but incredible. I didn't actually ever think I'd be at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Never was a plan until recently, and yeah, you guys came in numbers, and we're over 1,000 subscribers now, so that is amazing. I wanted to do it by the end of the year, but we did it in November, so brilliant. Very, very happy about that. Thank you so much. I'm going to carry on making weekly content and just see how it goes. Obviously I'm trying new things like this podcast, but yeah, 1,000 subs, amazing. I'm very, very, very happy about that indeed. I guess that's that really, isn't it? I'm here. Anything else to say about that? I guess no, I'm happy, thank you. Well, that brings me to my second topic for today, which is a question which I get asked quite a lot. It's not the question which is in the title, which I'll be answering in a bit, so stay tuned. But it's another question which is asked quite a lot. I think I see other YouTube creators getting this question a lot on their videos, and it is, how do you find music for your videos, or where do you find music, etc, etc. My very quick answer is SoundCloud. That is my primary. 99% of the time I will find or discover my music on SoundCloud and also download it from SoundCloud. There are a lot of producers on SoundCloud, to name a few: Lakey Inspired, DJ Grumble, Grime Lab Inc. There's loads more. Ryan Little is a really good one as well. They're 4 of many producers which are regularly, at least weekly, churning out new tracks which are all really, really cinematic, and they allow you to download them for free. A lot of them have Patreon accounts, which gives you the opportunity to support them, which is a really, really cool thing, I think. But yeah, SoundCloud is the main way that I find music, and in terms of discovering these excellent artists, it is just time. If I'm in the gym or if I'm driving, I'm normally just I'm just shuffling my SoundCloud feed, so anything that's reposted by people I follow will be new stuff, and a lot of the time, yeah, I'm just listening out for new music all the time, and I add it to a playlist. I might link that playlist below actually, so you guys can have a look at it, but that is 90% copyright free music. And that brings me on to another point which I forgot to side note there, I gave you my quick answer, which is I use SoundCloud. But the tricky thing is for YouTube creators is that if you've got to be careful what music you use, because sometimes you will not be able to publish your video to YouTube if you use a copyrighted track. So if I was to put Post Malone's Rockstar over this video, I'm pretty sure it would be taken down by YouTube, because I don't hold any rights to play that track on a video. If it wasn't taken down by YouTube, then other tracks you certainly wouldn't be able to monetize your videos, which is what allows creators on YouTube to make money from their content. So it is always a case of finding copyright-free music to put on your videos. So that is why I mentioned SoundCloud, because SoundCloud has an absolute abundance of that. It's not always explicitly detailed whether it's copyright-free or not. A lot of the producers will say available to download, happy to use them on YouTube videos, just leave my link in the description, which I always do. But a lot of the time it won't specify it, so you need to go onto the music policy section of YouTube, search for the track you want to use and see if it comes up as eligible to use. That might have all been a very complicated answer to quite a simple question. I'm trying to think what else you would want to know about that. I can certainly speak on my behalf. SoundCloud is where I go. Very, very occasionally I look on Audio Network, I think is another one, and that's absolutely full of copyright-free music as well, and it is much better in terms of specifying where the rights you have to all of the tracks. So that's a good one. And the other thing I'll just mention is sometimes I'll be listening to Spotify. I use Spotify a lot, and I might hear a song I like. I will then search for that song on SoundCloud and see if it's downloadable and usable on YouTube. So very occasionally I'll discover something on Spotify and therefore find it on SoundCloud and get it from there. So yeah, I think that's everything about that. It is just a case of searching, listening to hours of music to find music which fits your videos. But like I say, there are some producers which are regularly putting out content, who I mentioned earlier. You can follow them and it's pretty easy really, they're always going to have something you can use. Okay, so the third topic I want to talk about today, and it wasn't in my original list of things to talk about because I did plan on filming this 2 weeks ago, but however it is now Saturday the 9th of December, which means that yesterday the Grand Tour was released. Now I realised this yesterday, but annoyingly I was in Berlin yesterday and in an airport, so I thought, I'm not going to be able to watch it. However, you can download on Amazon Prime. So I did in fact download the episode 1 of the Grand Tour, 2nd season, and I watched it on the plane back from Berlin yesterday evening, and I have to say, I enjoyed it. My opinion on the first series was is pretty similar to most people's, in that it started off pretty well, then it went a little bit downhill, but overall, for me, the bits in the studio where it's sort of very scripted comedy, I just don't find funny at all, and I don't think it works well for those three, Jeremy, Richard and James, as a trio. But there wasn't as much as that in the first episode of the 2nd season. There was still probably 10 minutes out of the whole hour and 10 minutes of sort of stuff that I'd wanted to skip, because I just don't find that scripted humour very funny at all. However, my biggest plus sign positive about the new series is the new celebrity side of things. So we all know, I think recently they disclosed that they would have been ditching Celebrity Brain Crash, which was their celebrity thing in the first series, where they had a celebrity every week which died, and it just got very old very, very quick. And actually it really wound me up because I wanted to see, see what these celebrities had to say. Well, that is my temperature gauge saying that it's very, very cold. Take care. But yeah, that was, I thought, absolutely shocking, that Celebrity Brain Crash thing. However, in the new season, and this is probably loads of spoilers by the way, they have 2 celebrities on which are in the same field So it was David Hasselhoff so the category this week was former talent show judges. So I think it's a bit of a gimmick of a category as well, to be honest. But it was David Hasselhoff and Ryan, someone off The Voice. Can't remember his name, but he's really funny actually. But they go head to head in a Jaguar F-Type. I think it's the V6, and it's on a pretty cool dirt and tarmac track. And that was actually really entertaining to watch. I really enjoyed that. The only thing I would say is I think it's a bit of a shame that the F-Type is Tiptronic and it seems to be an automatic mode when they're doing the lap, which seems a bit, I don't know. I would prefer it if it was a manual, because it, you know, I don't know. What do you think? I think if it was a manual car, it'd be better. But that's just my opinion. Besides that, the content in it was great on the first episode. It obviously, it was the episode where Richard Hammond almost dies in that Rimac Concept 1, which was really terrifying when that happened, because obviously it just brought back memories of his first major accident in that drag car. Anyway, he was fine, as we all know, but it does show that right at the very, very end, and they have a very funny spin on it. So it was all in all a very, very good episode, and I'm hoping, I think if every other episode in the series carries as well as that one did, I think it's going to be a great series and we're in for a treat. So yeah, really enjoyed the second season, first episode of the Grand Tour. Okay then, so that's those three things out of the way. So I've talked about 1,000 subscribers, which was incredible, thank you. And I've talked about, this is really hard, this is really tough, because I'm used to making a video, saying things maybe 3 or 4 times over to get them right, and then editing it so it all looks flush. But these podcasts I'm going to try and keep as raw as possible, so there's pretty much going to be zero cutting or editing in these podcasts. So obviously when I'm stumbling my words and forgetting what to say, I'm just going to leave that in. So if you find that boring, I'm really sorry, but otherwise, that's just how I'm going to do it, really. Obviously there is a few cuts where you can see I've moved the cameras around, but apart from that, nothing. I'm going to take my sunglasses off. So anyway, let's recap. I've talked about, I'm just going to have to check my notes, 1,000 subscribers, great. How I find my music, lots of you guys asked about that. We've answered that, we talked about that. If you've got any other questions on any of these topics, especially that second one, let me know and I'll fire away some answers in the comments or on Instagram. Follow me. And I just talked about the Grand Tour, which, because this is so late in filming, I managed to watch on the plane last night on the day it came out, which was great. It certainly made the flight go a lot quicker. Now, the last topic before we get on to questions that I want to talk about today is Christmas gifts. Now, again, I had this idea a while back and I haven't sort of checked anything new or interesting, so these ideas are a bit rubbish, and I think all of these products that I'm about to mention belong to TGE, because he seems to have 25 Instagram businesses. Anyway, I thought that it might be quite cool in this podcast to include, as it's this time of year, Christmas gifts which you could buy for your fellow petrolhead friends. And we just come out to a straight, I was going to imitate, but I can't. Okay. So the first gift, which is all over Instagram and definitely belongs to TGE, is the Emoji Fresh air fresheners. Now, I haven't been paid to say any of this, and I don't even have an Emoji Fresh. I would quite like one though, Emoji Fresh. If you've got any kicking about, I really like the black moon face with the weird smile. I like that one. I always use that when I'm texting. But yeah, Emoji Fresh air fresheners. If you don't know, it's pretty simple. They're air fresheners for cars in the shapes of, or the faces of, the emojis. And there's some vegetables and stuff as well. Quite funny, really. Some of them are quite funny. You can get the smiling poo one. I think it'd be quite a funny little low budget gift for someone at Christmas. The second one, I've obviously got to mention it, is the Mega Mounts. Now, I have a coupon code for Mega Mounts because I did speak to Mega Mounts because I love the product so much, and I said, why can't I get some of the people who follow me 10% off as well? So that is still live, and you can get 10% off your mega mounts with the Joel W10 code. It's on my Instagram, I think, and I'll leave the details below. Anyway, mega mounts are great. They're like a magnetic phone holder, which you just stick into an air vent. You can get a conventional one which goes on glass, but I've got one which literally goes into my air vent, and I put a magnet on the back of my phone, stick it on. It's that simple. I do stick the magnet to a case though. You might not want to stick it directly onto a phone because you might ruin the lovely paintwork. But the great thing is it will go, you don't need an iPhone, you can have a Samsung, you can have a Nokia, you know, whatever you've got, it will work. And they're really, yeah, it's good. And they're cheap as well. I think they're less than 10 quid for the most part. And you can get 10% off, which is great. So yeah, so Emoji Fresh air fresheners, TGE, mega mounts, could even be TGE. And the third product I wanted to mention, I can't remember what it was. Yes, I can. Oh, he almost just binned it. That's a shame this second camera wasn't facing forward, because this Nissan Note in front of me almost just went straight into a wall, which would have been a good clickbait title. The third product I want to talk about is turbo whistle. Now, I think I was going to say the car throttle turbo whistle because I believe I've seen that advertised through Facebook or Instagram. They have loads of sponsored ads. But I think for £3 or whatever ridiculousness it is, that would be a really funny gift to get for someone. That would just be a prank more than anything, because you can literally just clip this little whistle onto someone's exhaust. I'm sure you all know what they do. And guess what? It sounds like a turbo, sort of. But they're called a turbo whistle because they're a whistle which you put on the exhaust and sounds like a turbo. But anyway, I've seen them advertised, and I thought that would be quite a funny gift to get for your fellow petrol head friend. Maybe as a joke. So yeah, if you've got a few quid to waste, maybe have a look at Emoji Fresh, have a look at Mega Mount, have a look at the car throttle turbo whistle. If it is car throttle, I will leave links if I can find any of them. Wicked. So, I guess that brings me on to the questions part of this video. Now, if I do make these podcasts a regular thing, this Nissan Note is going so slow. I'm going to actually overtake him. Bear with me one moment. You know when people are just, I'm in a 60. He was doing 40. We got onto a straight, and then he started braking. So I was just like, "Come on, I'm pretty chill today, but come on, come on." So I've just done it. Anyway, we can calm down now, because I don't think you'll be able to hear me with that racket. Okay, guys. So now I'm on to the last part of this podcast. This is a part of the podcast which I want to be in every podcast should I do more podcasts, if that makes any sense. I do feel like I do a lot of waffling, you know, without editing. I do waffle a lot. So I hope you're finding this easy enough to follow, so I apologise if you're not. We'll work on it. But yes, this is going to be a questions and answers part, which I think every podcast should have, and this one certainly will be no exception. Now, I guess we're probably 20 minutes in now or so I really should start with the question you're all here to see the answer to. I'm sorry, it's really not that exciting. But the title of this video and the first question I'm going to answer today is, do I still work with Sam at Seen Through Class? Now, I know a lot of you probably want to know this answer because, well, a lot of you ask me, and I have been meaning to give you an answer for a long, long time. But I also know that a lot of you guys are, you know of me because of my work with Seen Through Class, so you probably want to know what's happened there. The quick answer is no, I don't work with Sam anymore, and the answer to what's happened there is really nothing too interesting. We had a certain time frame we were going to work together for, and we carried that out, and it was great. I had an absolutely fantastic time working with Sam. I certainly enjoyed myself. I'm sure you know this, and without sounding braggy, I got to do some really, really cool things. The highlights of me were probably the Tartan Florio tour with Supercar Driver up in Scotland. That was when Sam had the 540C. We toured around the Scottish Highlands for a few days, stayed in some lovely hotels and ate some amazing food, and that was incredible. And the scenery was magnificent. I got to fly my drone around a lot for the STG videos, and yeah, it was such a cool place to do that. Second highlight, which you guys are all aware of, I'm sure, is when I went with Sam and we picked up that Ferrari 488 from the factory in Maranello. That was awesome. I flew down to Bologna, met Sam. He'd come in from Monaco, I think, because Tom Marks had just been on, I can't remember, there was something going on in Monaco. So we met in Bologna, went straight to Maranello, got to do an incredible factory tour, and then picked up our very own Ferrari to drive all the way through to Coventry and the Motorfest in Coventry, which was a really, really cool event. But on the way, we got to drive through Austria, Germany, France. We met up with Paul Wallace from Supercars of London. He still had his Lamborghini. We convoyed back to the UK, or at least to the, where is it? Calais? The Channel Tunnel. Convoyed back to there, but Paul didn't have a quick pass, so he had to queue. We just went straight on the train. Anyway, so they were two epic highlights from my work with See-Through Glass. But yeah, in short, I don't work with Sam anymore. You're probably thinking, oh, wait, what happened? Nothing happened. we just parted ways at the end of the time that we were set to work together. And Sam is continuing to make excellent videos, and I think he does so well to make everything he does by himself. It's incredible. And obviously, you probably all watch his videos. But right now, he is doing Vlogmas and doing a video a day. I really don't know how he does it. It's quite admirable. But yeah, he's doing Vlogmas. I really enjoy the videos. I think the green Cayman looks incredible, and the Ferrari was definitely the right choice for Sam. Oh, this is interesting. The roads where I live are just not for a Z4. Anyway, I hope that answers your question about the See-Through Glass situation. I think a lot of you thought I was still working with him, but I'm not. But that clears it up. But yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much because it involves Sam as well as me, and it's not for me to say everything. Obviously, involving other people. But yeah, I guess if you've got any other dying questions about that, I'll potentially answer them for you. So that brings me on to some more questions from you guys. Obviously, that See-Through Glass question was a very collective question from lots of you. But now I want to speak specifically about a couple of you guys who have been in touch with some questions. So this is my favourite question of this podcast. It's from Mike Greenshields. I think this was on Instagram, and he asked me. Mike Greenshields on Instagram. How you doing, Mike? He asked me what mods would I do to my Z4 if money wasn't a factor. I think that's a really, really cool question because I'm the type of person who likes to daydream a lot and think about all the things I would do to cars and what cars I would drive if money wasn't a factor. But sadly, money is a factor, and we all know that. But what mods would I do to my Z4 if money was not an issue? It's tricky because there's a lot of money's not an issue. Money's not an issue. I would probably ditch this Z4 and buy the Z4M. Actually, no, let's not do that. I would have a facelift Z4. So, say I don't have the facelift, what I would do is I would upgrade the headlights and rear lights to clear lights, and then definitely the next thing I would do is I would change the wheels of the car. So my friend Ben Rain on Instagram, he has got a facelift Z4, which he's actually just wrapped by himself, and I think we might be doing a video together in the near future, so stay tuned for that. And it looks incredible. I'll leave a link to his Instagram account. He has got the 20-inch BMW something wheels, and they're the wheels I'd go for. They're in sort of a graphite or carbon black colour as well, which is the colour that I would have too. So yeah, I would upgrade the lights to clear. I would change my alloys to those alloys. I would then, it's something I might do anyway, I would then swap out the silver or chrome grille at the front of the car for a black one. I think it would look better. Maybe I would lower the car if sort of someone could just do it for me. I don't have to I don't know if I'd really bother. I think with the bigger alloys it would probably look good enough. Bumpers, I don't really think I'd play around with them too much, because I would just, I don't like making my car look like a more expensive model when it just isn't the more expensive model, so I probably wouldn't go there. But definitely what I would do is wrap the car. Like I say, my friend Ben has just wrapped his own car and it looks incredible. So I would definitely wrap the car. Maybe I'd ask Ben to do it for me. I wouldn't be wrapping it myself, you can guarantee that. Let's just get all. Sorry mate. I almost just killed someone. That was his fault. That was his fault. I would have my car wrapped, and what colour would I have it wrapped? I don't know if until I was actually in that situation, but I think with the wheels, upgraded lights and all of that, bright yellow. Yeah, I would quite like to wrap this bright yellow. I think that would look awesome. With like, you know, very metallic, flecky bright yellow. I think it would look very, very cool indeed. Yeah, so I guess that answers that. They're the mods I would do. Obviously that's not taken into account, you know, if money wasn't a factor, I probably wouldn't be driving a Z4. I do love the Z4, but you know, Z4, Ferrari 458, I think we all know where we'd stand on that one. Anyway, so that hopefully answers your question, Mike. Thank you for asking. But really cool question, because what mods would you guys do to your cars? Or if you had my car, or you do have a Z4, what mods have you done? What mods would you do? And maybe also, if money wasn't an object, what would be your dream car? Because that is always something very interesting. I think lots of people have different dream cars. Mine will be different to yours. I'll save them for another time. But yeah, let me know guys your thoughts on all of those things. Okay then, the third and final question today is from Sam on YouTube. It's just Sam. I can't remember I don't think there was a surname. I wrote Sam down. So hello Sam. Thank you for asking a question on YouTube. What did you ask? You asked what to ask for and what to look for when buying a used car. Advice. Now I'm not at all qualified. Let me just say that I'm not at all qualified to answer that question. However, I have had a little bit of experience in doing it and doing it with other people too. But yes, do not take my advice as the Bible, because it is not going to be that. But very fortunately, I am good friends with Charlie Gray, who works in sort of selling classics and spends lots of time buying and selling cars, and knows exactly what to look for generally when buying and selling cars. And fortunately for me, I was with Charlie, and by the way, you've seen Charlie before. He was in the track day video, my last video, the racing the Porsche video. He's really cool. I'll leave his links and all of that. He was with me when I bought this Z4, and he knew exactly the things to ask and check. So I will mention those on his behalf. So I would say, in terms of what to look for when buying a used car, it does fundamentally depend on what the car is. So for example, with my research, I was looking at 986 Porsche Boxsters, I was looking at Z4s and 350Zs, that sort of thing. With the Z4, it was quite easy one, because there was only a couple of things. Generally with convertibles it's the same, but on the Z4 they would always say, make sure to look out for the roof motor, make sure it's working properly, because it's £1,000 to fix that if it does go wrong. So you're always checking for the roof motors in these cars. The other thing is the Vanos. I think there's a ticking sound if it's a bit out, and means it could fail. That's the sort of thing you check for with these Z4s and these engines. With the Boxsters, there's the well-known IMS bearing failure, which can happen, leads to catastrophic engine damage, which is very, very expensive indeed on the car. So you're looking to see if the IMS has been changed, blah 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 blah. And also, I think generally for every car, rust. Maybe, you know, if you're buying something 2 years old, you're not going to be looking for that at all, unless it's an Alfa Romeo. But yeah, your rust is one of those things that you always want to look for. But yeah, I guess as far as generally, I can't think of any other massive things that you always want to look for. thing I would say that I personally like to look at is the interior of the specific car, because I think that says a lot about how it's been treated. If it smells of cigarettes, or it just smells damp, or there's just bits of dust everywhere, or you can see it hasn't been cleaned ever, worn seats, you probably know that. I think that gives you a good indication potentially how it's been driven as well. If it's not been looked after inside, chances are it's not been looked after on the road, so maybe that would be one to avoid. But yeah, I'd look for interior, I'd look for rust, and I'd look for specific things. Do your research on the car you're actually buying, and just look for those specific things that you need to check before buying that particular car. And then things to ask. So I presume this means things to ask the dealer or the salesperson or the owner before buying a car, or potentially when negotiating a sale. In terms of negotiating a sale, if you decided you want to buy the car, I think very good thing to do, and this is something that Charlie did for me with this Z4 when I bought this car, and ultimately it led to me having a really good price on this car, is Charlie picked out all of the things that were wrong with the car, however insignificant. So the light washer cap was missing, the alloys were a little bit curved, the tyres would need changing. What are you doing? I've got it on that camera as well, I'll show you that. That was... what do you think about old people driving? I know I must sound arrogant, I'm 20, I've only been driving 3 years. But old people driving, come on. The spatial awareness isn't there anymore, is it? I mean, I'm talking 80 plus. That guy just pulled out onto my side of the road, and it's absolutely unnecessary. So, old people talk, comment below. Anyway, off topic again. Charlie picks out all of the things that were wrong with his car, and basically said to the guy that was selling the car, like, I'm going to have to get this, and this fixed, and it's going to cost me this much money. I want this much money off the car. And pretty much in my case, Charlie went in a really low ball offer, and the guy was just like, yeah, right. So, more or less. So that definitely helps. Do not be afraid to point out things wrong with the car, because a lot of the time these are going to be things which the salesperson can't deny either, and maybe have to knock a bit of money off for you, and sometimes a lot of money. So definitely do that. Another thing I forgot to mention, which is very important, if you can, drive the car, because that's going to tell more stories than anything else. Drive it, have a feel of how it feels. I did loads of test driving quite recently for my brother, who was looking for his first car actually, and yeah, I drove a few absolutely awful cars. They're not normally awful cars, but the particular ones I drove were shocking. And externally they look fine, in the interior they look fine, but when I drove them, they were clearly not being looked after and would need some work doing. So definitely, if you can do it, drive the car before you buy the car. Right then, I think that brings me to the end of this podcast. I hope it works. I did film it before, and the audio was really rattly, and it was fine, but it really wound me up. So likelihood is it would wind you up as well, and you'd all comment below saying, "Sort your audio out." So I thought I'll just film it again. I do not mind. Yeah, so I do hope you've enjoyed it, guys. I quite enjoy doing it because I just get, like I say, I get to drive my car and talk. And I like talking, if you haven't already noticed. So it's pretty ideal for me. So I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, definitely let me know, because I really want your encouragement so that I can make more of these. But if you do hate it, let me know as well, and I'll stop doing them. Well, I might not actually, I might just ignore you. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys. If you've got any questions at all on anything I've talked about today, comment below. As always, you can go on my Instagram, which I'll leave the link to, itsjoelw, and follow me on there, ask me questions, send me messages, and I will be posting there when I'm going to film another podcast and when I'm doing another Q&A. I'm going to start doing some live streams as well, where you can live ask me questions. I think that's quite fun. I did one with Sideways Sid Sideways. I did one with him the other day, and that was really fun, so I might start doing some. But anyway, yeah, so get involved with the Instagram page if you're not already. get involved with this video, leave some feedback. I always appreciate it, genuinely, negative or positive. I really appreciate your feedback, and of course thumbs up, subscribe and all of that rubbish. So yeah, I will see you guys probably next week for another video. It might be with my friend Ben and his newly wrapped Z4. Check out his car, it looks amazing. It's in like a baby blue, but that's on his Instagram page. I'll leave his links below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.